Good morning, students. Welcome to the class. So what was the previous topic? What was covered in the previous class? Okay, so please try to remember it, revise it, and you should know few of the diagrams that I am showing now regarding the cervix of uterus. Okay, so this is the colposcopic appearance of cervix, showing two colors. Inner color is endocervix, outer color is ectocervix. Okay, so junction, the line where the colors are joining is the transformation zone. So why is the transformation zone important? Transformation zone is important because it is where carcinoma cervix arises. Okay, and this is a microscopic photograph of column transitional zone. Okay, this is a diagrammatic representation. Columnar cell to one side and squamous epithelium to the other side. So you can see this is the area where dysplasia arises and then which goes for tumor. So what is dysplasia? You can see the abnormal epithelial cells. That means epithelial cells showing malignant features, but they are not crossing the basement membrane. Okay, so that's why it is called as dysplasia or carcinoma in situ. Carcinoma in situ because the cells showing malignant features are not crossing the basement membrane. If it crosses the basement membrane, then it is called as infiltration, and now it is called carcinoma. Okay, understood? The difference between dysplasia and carcinoma is the infiltration beyond basement membrane. This is the pap smear photograph showing you normal CIN1, CIN2 and CIN3 squamous cells. Gross photograph of the carcinoma cervix. Microscopy of squamous cell carcinoma. Remember, squamous cell carcinoma microscopically is characterized by keratin pearls. You can see there are so many keratin pearls. Keratin arranged in a concentric layers. Keratin arranged in concentric layers is called as keratin pearl. Okay, now coming to uterus. So uterus has two layers. So all of you know it is myometrium and endometrium. So what are the disorders of uterus? The common disorders of uterus are menstrual disorders, complications of pregnancy, and neoplastic proliferations or neoplasms. So before going to them, first you should know the dating of endometrium. Dating of endometrium is important because endometrium undergoes cyclical changes. Okay, so you should be able to know, date the endometrium. You should be able to date the endometrium. So why is dating important? To identify the causes of endometrial bleeding and infertility. Say the patient has endometrial bleeding or patient has infertility, then dating of endometrium will help you. So histology of endometrium, as I told you, there is proliferative phase, secretory phase, menstrual phase. Okay, in menstrual phase, there is shedding of the endometrium. Okay, up to half or upper 2/3 is shed. In proliferative phase, there is proliferation of the glands and stroma. So the glands will be long tubular. Okay, when it is cut longitudinally. And when it is cut cross-sectionally, the glands are round to oval. Okay, so you can see the glands which are round to oval, and the lumen is empty, no secretion, but you can see the stroma which is surrounding the glands is cellular and compact. Okay, so remember the features of proliferative endometrium. Stroma is cellular and compact. Glands are long tubular with no secretions. Secretory phase, there is early secretory phase shows subnuclear vacuoles. Late secretory phase shows secretion, serrated glands, stromal edema and predecidual change. So you can see the diagram, you can see vacuoles present below the nucleus. You can see the vacuoles present below the nucleus. So that's why it is called as subnuclear vacuolation. Okay. Then the changes like serration of the glands. You can see tortuous nature of the glands, and the glands filled with secretion. And you can see the stroma now. Stroma appears edematous. In the late stages, stroma becomes predecidual. That means the cells will have abundant eosinophilic cytoplasm. Stromal cells will have abundant eosinophilic cytoplasm. You can see the difference between stroma of the proliferative and secretory phase. Proliferative phase, stromal cells are only nucleus. You cannot see much of cytoplasm. Whereas in case of late secretory endometrium, you can see the stromal cells having abundant eosinophilic cytoplasm, and that is called as predecidual change. So ovulation is confirmed by presence of prominent basal vacuolation. Okay, so you can definitely say that ovulation has occurred if you see these changes. They are basal vacuolation, which should be predominant in most of the glands. Secretory exhaustion, that is secretion into the lumen of the glands. Predecidual change, if you see these changes, you can confirm that ovulation has occurred in the patient. Then coming to abnormal uterine bleeding, there are 4 causes. One is dysfunctional uterine bleeding, chronic endometritis, endometrial polyp, and submucosal leiomyoma. Leiomyoma is tumor of smooth muscle. Coming to dysfunctional uterine bleeding. So remember the definition. Dysfunctional means there is no organic disorder. Okay, it's only functional disorder. Okay, there is no organic or structural abnormality, but still there is bleeding in the person, uterine bleeding. Okay, the causes are usually anovulatory cycles. Okay, a cycle where ovulation does not occur. So there is more of proliferation of the endometrium leading to bleeding. Inadequate luteal phase and oral contraceptives. Inflammation of endometrium is rare, but acute endometritis can occur due to retained products of conception, and chronic endometritis can occur due to retained intrauterine devices or due to tuberculosis. Now coming to 2 new terms, endometriosis and adenomyosis. Endometriosis and adenomyosis. What is endometriosis? Presence of endometrial glands or stroma in abnormal locations outside the uterus is called as endometriosis. Okay, so presence of endometrium outside the uterus is endometriosis. The most common sites are ovaries. The next common site is uterine ligament. Next is rectovaginal septum. Next is pelvic peritoneum, cervix, vagina, and laparotomy scars. Then adenomyosis. Adenomyosis is presence of endometrial tissue in myometrium. Okay, so endometrial tissue present in myometrium is called as adenomyosis. So what are the causes, pathogenesis of the endometriosis? It can be due to regurgitation theory. Okay, there are theories, around 4 theories. One is regurgitation theory, metaplastic theory, metastasis theory, and stem cell theory. Okay, regurgitation theory means the endometrium which is shed, okay, instead of going through the cervix, some of the amount can go through the tubes, fallopian tubes, and enter the peritoneum. Metaplasia, change of one cell to another cell. Metastasis is spread of the cell from one side to another. Okay, and stem cell, usually each organ will have a stem cell. From there can be production of the cells which are actually not particular to that organ. Okay, so this is a diagram showing you regurgitation of the endometrium through the fallopian tubes into peritoneum and onto the ovaries. So gross appearance of adenomyosis, when the uterus is cut, you can see the trabeculated appearance of the myometrium. Myometrium showing you trabeculated appearance, that is called as adenomyosis. So microscopically you can see here there is presence of endometrium in the myometrium. Okay, so usually it is almost 1 low power field deeper into the myometrium. 1 low power field deeper. Hypoverview of endometrium present in the myometrium among the muscles. So foci of endometrium usually responds to periodic bleeding as the endometrium is sensitive to hormones. Okay, so with each menses there is bleeding occurring in these abnormal sites. Okay, so because of this bleeding in these abnormal sites, you can see formation of nodules, and when they heal there can be fibrous adhesions. Okay, sometimes ovary can be converted into a cyst, and this repeated bleeding leads to a cyst filled with brown blood. Okay, and this is called as chocolate cyst. Okay, so you can see the ovary with endometriosis, where you can see areas of hemorrhage and scars, and sometimes you can see the cyst formation in the ovary filled with brown colored material. So this condition is called as chocolate cyst of ovary. So chocolate cyst of ovary is seen in endometriosis of ovary, remember. So what are the clinical features patient presents in case of endometriosis? Is pain. So it can be due to dysmenorrhea, or it can be as a dyspareunia of pelvic pain. Pain during defecation, urine passing, or intestinal disturbances due to fibrosis. There can be menstrual irregularities and infertility. Infertility due to adhesions of the fallopian tubes. Then endometrial polyp. It can be single or multiple, usually measuring around 0.5 to 3 centimeters, and it can be due to stromal neoplasm, or it can be due to tamoxifen intake, or it can be a atrophic remnant. Okay, so these are the conditions of endometrium. Okay, thank you.